Zoe here, welcome back to my channel. I think this is episode 14 in March Madness, I think. If I've worked it out correctly, it will be. I'm actually voiceovering this on Sunday and this is supposed to go up Tuesday, so forgive my slight confusion. So I decided to go with a little bit of mixed media today. If you're in the UK and you are on Facebook, join the group For the Love of Pretty Paper. It's a really fun UK based group, but there's a challenge in there to use acetate in new and interesting ways. So I thought, well, I'll give it a whirl. But I didn't want to do a full 12x12 on acetate because I've already done that. I did that in my Christmas run up to Christmas. That was part of the triple page layout that I did. And I didn't want to because I knew if I did an acetate layout I'd have to do something else that would work behind the acetate because otherwise it would annoy me. So yeah, I decided to make a shaker pocket with the acetate instead, which is what I'm about to do right now. So I'm just trimming my acetate down to I think it's 5x4. I didn't want a square pocket, but I wanted to keep it relatively close to the size of my photo, which is 4x3. So I'm just trimming that down and faffing around with it a little bit. I think I initially cut it to 6x5, but that was just a little bit too big. So I do change that up to 4x5. And I've just off camera there just stitched around the three sides of the pocket, and I'm just adding in some sequins. These ones are Moonstone by Simon Says Stamp. I'm adding in these beautiful sea glass stars which came in a Studio Calico kit, which you can't see very well in my lighting. I apologise for that, my lighting's too bright. These beautiful aqua sequin mix, it also was a Studio Calico collection. I think, if I recall correctly, I got them when I did a Maggie Holmes mini album class. So they were part of the class kit or something like that. So I've probably had those about 3 years. So I apologise for that. And I'm also adding in just a few teeny tiny black backed diamante gemstone thingies, just for a little bit of sparkle. And I'm going to layer that behind my photograph. And I'm going to keep it relatively simple and just add in lots and lots and lots of layers. I've pulled some stuff from my stash. I can't remember who was asking actually, but somebody asked me recently if I did actually work from things that aren't kits. And this is me working from something that is not a kit. This is me working from my stash. I just went through my stash and my scraps and just found some things that I thought might work. Now I knew I wanted to make a frame from this a stripy black and white stripe, so I'm just going to cut out the centre of this with my craft knife to give me a 4x4 frame, and I'm going to layer that over the acetate pocket. I have a vague recollection of seeing something on Pinterest of a similar ilk, and it will have been probably about 12 months ago because I haven't really been active on Pinterest since then. So yeah, I vaguely recall seeing something that had a shaker pocket and a frame over it. I'm afraid I can't remember who it was by. It was quite a long time ago, but I do recall that when I thought of doing the shaker pocket, I thought, oh, I'll put a frame over it, because I have seen that before. So that wasn't necessarily my idea, but the rest of it is, I promise. So you see there, I'd pulled some papers out from my stash and I decided against them because actually the tones that I've pulled out, I pulled a blue tone out because I knew I wanted to have a strip go down the side of my layout, and it's completely the wrong tone, and I spent about 20 minutes going through all of my papers and all of my 6x6 pads, and I couldn't find anything at all with the right tone. So I thought, well, blow this. I'm just going to add in another tone, and I'm going to add in this beautiful green sort of minty green colour. These two papers that I'm using now are from a Heidi Swap paper pad that I have in my stash, and I found a lined paper with the same tone of green and this tone of green, which is also slightly lined, I think, if I recall correctly. I'm sure it is slightly lined. So I'm just going to tear it up just to create a little bit of interest just onto the upper left corner of my layout, just because it felt like my photo cluster was just a little bit floaty, and this will give it some sort of positioning for the eye, I think, is how I'm going to put that. I wanted to say it will anchor it to the page, and it will, but not necessarily in the way an anchor would. So anchoring the page certainly isn't the correct term, but adding something to the side when you've got your paper and your photo clusters going on to one side of the layout really does help draw the eye into the correct spot, or at least it does for me. So again, I've just stitched that off camera. I've used some vellum there from the Poolside collection by Crate Paper. I've used a little bit of washi. I have no idea where that came from. It was just happened to be in my stash, and it sort of matched my frame. And then that Heidi Swap aqua green. I've used a notebook punch on the other aqua green piece. I just wanted to add in, I didn't particularly want to add in another tone, but I knew I didn't have anything that matched the blue perfectly, so this works well for me. So I've just scrumpled that paper up because I want it to be nice and textured and layered, and I'm adding lots of like scrumpling and scuffing up my edges and things, just so that when it all goes down, it can go down really beautifully textured. And I have a little bit of a moment here, and I'm thinking, how on earth am I going to stick this down? So I opt for stapling it, which works really, really well. And it adds a lovely little design element as well, which is a nice added bonus. So I'm just going to adhere my frame directly over my shaker pocket. And you'll see I did shake most of the stuff just to the one side that's going to be on show, because I do cover up the majority of it actually, which I know you might be thinking it sort of renders it a bit pointless, but actually the little hint of the shaker pocket is what makes it fun for me, because you can sort of see it. But to be fair, it does render it pretty pointless for the challenge I initially started this for, because you can barely see the acetate, which I guess renders it null and void. But I'm okay with it. I am okay with how this came out. I know I layered quite a lot over it, but I think that little hint of it adds a little fun hidden element that you have to look to see, which I actually really like. So I've added my photo on a bit of an angle just for the just for a little whimsical element, I suppose. And I'm going through my collection of tags and tabs and things. I know I want to add in something behind it, and I happen upon this, which I think came in a Crate Paper ephemera pack. In fact, I'm almost certain it did, and it matches the green of the Heidi Swap paper perfectly, and the gold matches the gold in the Poolside vellum. So I think, yeah, I'll go for that. And then I've pulled out some of the stickers that I have left from the Bloom collection, because again, the colours and the tones worked really, really well. So I'm adding a little banner. Why am I saying it 80,000 times? I'm adding a banner which perfectly matches the green tones. And that says Dreaming of You, and I've added the phrase love, and just pop that off to the side, and they're going to be my titles essentially. They're going to function as my titles. This isn't a picture that has any it doesn't have any particular story behind it. There isn't a story to tell. It's just a fun, silly picture of me and Raf. There's no real story to tell, so I don't have a particular title in mind, so this works pretty well for me. So I'm just playing around with some paper clips here that I have in my drawer next to me. You see me just reaching off there, that's the drawer that I have at the side of me. And I knew I wanted to add in a metal element, but I'm just going to faff around with this a little bit more until I find the perfect place, and I find it just there. And it has a number 2 on it because I thought, well, there's 2 of us and it's a tenuous enough connection for me. These beautiful chipboard gold hearts came in a Studio Calico kit. Again, that will have been about probably 3 years ago. I'm pretty sure they still do things like this in their kits. I'm almost certain they do, but I haven't subscribed to them for quite some time, so it will have been quite a while ago that I got those. I'm just adding them in 3 spots to create a nice visual triangle to draw your eye in to the design elements, but then also obviously back to the photograph. I'm just sticking them down with tape because that's what I had to hand, and I was too lazy to go and find my glue. I seem to have misplaced it, which I've probably just put it in a different drawer, you know. That's just how I roll. So I've just added those, and now I'm going to add some phrase stickers. I'm using my absolute beloved confetti stickers. I have 4 sheets of these, or had 4 sheets of these. This is the last almost full sheet, and it makes me weep every time I use it because I can never get them again because it's done and gone. So I'm going to add some black Heidi Swapp Colour Shine because I've added some black phrase stickers. I wanted to add some more black, and I'm doing a sort of technique where I actually tap the ink off with my ruler. I'm using my ruler because it gives a much finer splatter, and then I'm going to use a paintbrush to create big ones, really big drops. Yeah, just because I really wanted that sort of messy, really visual appearance of the black in the really big droplets, but I also wanted some fine ones, and if you hit it with something you get a little bit more control, I find. So I'm going to add some gold Heidi Swapp Colour Shine as well, just so that that black isn't quite so glaringly obvious out by itself. And yeah, I'm going to call it done there, I think. I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I think it looks really fun. It's a bit whimsical, it's got a little fun element to it with the shaker pocket. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Do leave me a thumbs up if you like this video. And if you've got any comments or questions, do leave them down below. I definitely make sure to respond to everybody. I think it might take me a few days, but I definitely respond to every comment I get. And I will see you tomorrow with the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!